Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic related to Angular Reactive Form, where we will see how to use FormBuilder with validation. If you remember, in our previous session, we talked about the example where we created the form with the help of FormBuilder, but there we didn't implemented the validation. But in today's session, we are going to see the example where we will actually do the validation with the help of FormBuilder. Okay, but before we get started, I would like to recommend you to firstly go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to use FormBuilder with validation. Now, to understand this thing, or maybe to refer the content properly, what you can do, you can refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. There you will find more than 3000 plus free resources, which is available in both Hindi as well as English language. So without any language barrier, you can consume the content. Okay. Alright, so let's get started. Here you can see currently I'm in app.component.html file, where I have mentioned h1 heading as Angular course by Sharmit and the second heading as reactive form in Angular FormBuilder with validation. So these are the two headings that we have. Now next what we are going to do, firstly we will try to understand the requirement, and then we will define the prerequisite. So requirement is very simple, like we will create a form with two input fields. One is for name and another one is for email. For name, we will make sure that it should be filled, that means it should not be blank. And for the email, we will check it should not be blank, and also it should be a valid email address. So these are the two main validation that we want to apply to these two fields. But in actual scenario, there might be other fields also. So accordingly, like you can design the things, but process would be the same. Now, once requirement is clear, so I think it's good time to define the prerequisite. So for that, we will go to app.component.ts file. Here in this app component class, we will define the required form group and the form builder. But prior to that, let's go to imports array. And here you can write reactive forms module, because this is the thing that will help us to create the reactive form. Okay. Now next what we will do, in export class app component, we will define the builder name. So I'll write user form. Okay. Then we will write here this dot fb. Fb is what? Fb is a simple FB is a place which will denote the form builder. But do you know how we will define the form builder? Usually we define it inside a constructor. So let's build the constructor first. So I will write here constructor, where we will mention private, then FB colon, then we will write here form builder. We need to put form builder, okay. Then two opening closing curly braces, one, and then just simply expand it. So this is the constructor. Now inside this constructor, we will define our form group with the help of form builder. Remember, don't get confused. Normal way we already know, we are just using here the form builder. So for that, we will mention here name, then square bracket, single quotes, and after that we will mention here the validators. Okay, so Validators.required. Now pay attention to this thing. Whatever we are using, it should be imported here, like form builder, reactive form modules, validators. If it is imported, then you're good to use it. Okay. Now here is one more important thing, like we define this name. Okay, and square bracket is also there. Then I think we forgot to start the group. So firstly we need to start the group. So for that we will write here user form equal this dot fb dot group. Okay, then opening closing parenthesis, opening closing curly braces, and we will expand this. Now this user form should be defined here. How? Let me show you. You just need to write here like this, user form. Okay, so always make sure that user form is there, and then you can refer it with the help of this. So this dot user form, that's it. Okay, so this thing is ready. Now next what we are going to do, we are going to create here email. So this dot but for email and name we will just simply expand it here. Firstly I'll write for name square bracket, inside this we will put a single quotes, then we will write here validators dot fb dot validators dot required. Okay, and then we will put a comma over here, then email, and then we will write here another square bracket where we will mention single quote again, then a comma, then we will write here array. Why this time we are using array? Because we want to apply two validation, one is for required and one for the valid email. So here I will write validators dot required comma validators dot email. Okay, so this thing is ready, then you are good to use this group. So form group is ready. Now we just wanted to create a form, and there we will utilize it. Okay, so for that let's go to app.component.html. but before that, one more thing we need to mention here. One is JSON pipe, and another thing is ngIf, because these two things will help us. ngIf for conditional statement and JSON pipe for showing the values. Okay, now let's go to HR here, and here we will define the form. So firstly I'll write the form. Inside this form we will mention the group name. So you just need to write here form group, where we will mention user form. Okay, then we will mention the label here. In label we will mention name. Okay, name. Then we will put a input field here, and in this input field firstly we will mention the type as text, and then the form control name, which is nothing but a email. Okay, so you just need to write here we will put the name. Okay, likewise we will mention the second label is for the email. So let's put a label over here where we will mention email, and then we can put a input field. Okay, and here firstly we will define the type as email, then a form control name where we will mention email. Perfect. So this thing is ready. We have name, label, input label, another email label, and another input label. After this we will define the error messages. Now if you want to define the error messages along with the fields, so it's better to define here only. So we'll write like this, div star ngIf, where we will mention user form dot get, then we will mention here name. Okay, and after name we will put a question mark dot invalid. I'm sure you know about the syntax, because this thing we have used multiple times, so I'll not waste much of the time here. I'll just simply define it. Okay, the get, and then here we will mention name, and then we will put a question mark after this dot touched. Okay, so this thing is ready. Now inside this we will mention name is required. Okay, now what we will do, we will simply copy this div so that we can save the time, and we will do it for the email as well. So you just need to replace this thing with email. Okay, and here also like for email we will mention get email dot invalid and email dot touched. So here also you just need to change it to email. That's it. Okay, and here we will mention email valid email is required, so that it will consider both things. Valid email is required. Perfect. So this thing is ready. Now if you want to show the data also, you can show. Otherwise what we can do, we can create one button so that user can submit the data. So for that, let's define the button, and here I will write submit, although I'm not using any method for it, just I'll define it so that if later you want to add, you can add. Perfect. Now save it, run this application, ng-serve -- open, enter. Just wait for a few seconds and then it will show you the output in the browser screen. So it is open. Here you can see we have one main heading, Angular course by Tech Sharmit, reactive form in Angular, form builder with validation, one horizontal row, label, another input field, another label, another input field, one button, and one more horizontal row. Now next what we will do here, let's say if I touch this and keep the cursor outside, so it will show name is required. Same goes with email. Now if you put the valid data, like for name I put the valid, so name error is removed. Similarly, it is not removed now. Why? Because it is not in a perfect format. So when you write it in a format, it will allow. Okay. So this is how actually we will build the validation with the help of FormBuilder. So I hope this session is clear to all of you. In the next session, we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.